Welcome to the jungle. The concrete jungle they call East Side High School. A high school so full of violence, drugs, and gang activity, the state of New Jersey was threatening to take it over. In the quest to find a savior, the mayor and superintendent could only think of one man with the will, the strength, and the balls to turn the school around. And who was this man? Joe Clark.
You are all expurgated. You are dismissed. Put it back. Put it back. I want every door in this school chained and locked. You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack. They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman. You can tell the state to go to
Chris Miles here, and I'm here to bring you 10 things you didn't know about the movie Lean on Me. When I was growing up, this movie was awesome. Morgan Freeman's first leading role. It's a story about a school running rampant with violence, drugs, even sex. It was totally out of control. So the mayor and the superintendent had hope that a principal of an elementary school that turned the elementary school around could also do the same thing for a high school. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you 10 things you didn't know about the movie Lean on Me.
Before we begin, we will ask the big question.
Now it's time for the big question. Is men dancing in G-strings appropriate for a high school audience? Now I shouldn't even have to answer that question, but I mean, believe it or not, this is so crazy. What you're seeing right now, this actually happened at Eastside High while Joe Clark was still the principal. Is this crazy or what?
Principal Joe Clark is catching the heat for this hot performance at his high school. Was this during recess?
And some of that entertainment was deemed to be a little risque for high school students.
The act you are watching is of rapper Wanda B and her dancers performing for Eastside High students. And you know what's even crazier? I inadvertently reached out to Wanda B, gave my 2 cents, and really didn't think anything about it. And you know what? She actually freaking responded to me back. I had no idea that I was ever going to be in a exchange with Wanda B about what she did, this inappropriate act at Eastside High School. I did not expect that. She wrote me a long, nasty, mean response, but she didn't know I was making a documentary, so I guess she's about to find out. Anyways, the big question is men dancing in G-strings appropriate for a high school audience?
What do you think about that? Is that too risque for high school students? What do you think? Yeah. Out of 800 calls, these are the results. Yes?
Stay tuned to the end of the video and I'm going to dive more into what happened, her initial response, and her response to me later in the video. Stay tuned.
In 2 minutes, I am going to dismiss this auditorium.
Number 10. Joe Clark was an ex-drill sergeant. Now I bet you're thinking, Joe Clark was a drill sergeant? Makes a lot of sense. Well, that explains a lot. The discipline you learned in the military would prove exactly what he needed to turn the school around. The problem is, the ability to bark orders at other people is not, a sentiment that the general public usually shares. Brief history. After he got his master's degree, he went to the military and eventually became a drill sergeant. So after being a teacher at Patterson Elementary School, another school that was in serious trouble, he became the principal and was credited for turning that school around. So as his popularity increased, he was asked by the superintendent, Dr. Napier, to become the principal of Eastside High. Initially, he turned it down. But as an ex-drill sergeant, he always liked the challenge, so he decided to take the job. Just like in the movie, he was strict. He was so strict, he even fired one of the basketball coaches for talking while someone was singing during the school song. He did not play about that school song. True indeed, he also kicked out 300 students on the first week. But in all fairness, most of them were like already 19 and 20 years old and still causing problems in the school. Too late at that point. Number 9. The Songbirds were real Eastside High students.
Yo, so what's good tonight, fellas?
Man, y'all remember Lean On Me, man?
Oh, yeah. Classic, baby.
I've been wanting to sing that song, man. And I think I got Chris in here right now to go ahead and sing.
We're going to fall in behind. So I got you, baby.
Fair Eastside, by thy side we'll stand and always praise thy name. Praise thy name, praise thy name to heaven, yeah. Lend our hearts and hands.
One of the infamous parts in this movie is when the guys get caught hanging out in the bathroom. Then Mr. Clark asks to hear the school song. But then he's blown away by how good they can sing and the harmony that they use. Well, how cool is it to know that they were real students of Eastside High and that really happened to them? Yes, except for Sam. And it was the real Joe Clark that suggested that they be a part of the movie. But the movie made it slightly different because they suggested it was Mrs. Powell's idea. But that's not the truth. This is how it really went. Mike Best, one of the singers in the group, was called to Mr. Clark's office where Mr. Clark called him a playboy because he saw that he was talking to 2 girls at the same time. Well, Mr. Clark told him to sing the school song and he didn't know it. So Clark told him if he didn't know it, he was going to get suspended. So he begged and begged Mr. Clark for another chance to learn the song.
So he said, Michael Best, you got somebody in your family that can sing. I know it. So he said, I want you to sing the school song. So I begged him, please don't bash me, Mr. Clark, because I can't sing. So I went to my 2 cousins' house and we got there at the kitchen table and heard it together.
And when he let Mr. Clark hear it the next day, Mr. Clark was in awe. He was so impressed with them, with the harmonies that they had and the new take on it. He had them sing it 2 or 3 times a week, every week, for, important school visitors and in all the school events. As a real group, the movie even got them signed to a record deal. And they changed their name from the Playboys to Riff. And they would eventually make the theme song to the movie White Men Can't Jump, which actually charted really high on the Billboard. Number 8. The auditorium scene had a few famous extras in it. Here's a quick fun fact. In the auditorium scene, when Mr. Clark expels all the students that were on the stage, a young Michael Imparelli is visible behind him. Also in the audience, you can spot a young Michael Blackson. I think it kind of makes the point that Cat Williams was trying to make, that Michael Blackson's accent is fake. And this doesn't help because if he's been in America that long, his accent really can't be that deep. So yeah, it's probably part of his routine. Also in the auditorium scene, it is said that a young Tate Diggs was there in a blue shirt. But to this day, I looked at it and I still can't find him. Y'all see him? Send me a link in the comments. Number 7. The Now They Can Call Me Batman scene really happened.
Now how did you take those children?
Don't you? Oh! She used to call me Crazy Joe. Now she just call me Batman.
In one scene, while holding a baseball bat, Morgan Freeman says,
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
that really happened.
They used to call me Crazy Joe. Now they call me Batman.
The real Joe Clark was known to carry around a baseball bat, maybe just for some extra intimidation, but it was said that he often got death threats all the time. And he admitted he was afraid of some of the drug dealers, some particular drug dealers that threatened his life, but he kept his poker face on, kept his composure, and kept it moving.
I'm gonna carry this bat, and any drug pusher I see trying to enter into those 35 doors, I'm gonna beat that
36-inch Louisville slugger.
The ironic thing about the whole Batman scene is that Morgan Freeman will go on to play the character of Lucius Fox, a close ally of Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy. Number 6. Joe Clark had a family. In the film we see Joe Clark, but it doesn't really mention a lot about his personal life. But in real life, Joe Clark had a family.
He's a married man. He has, I think, 3 or 4 children. I know he has a son, he has 2 daughters. And we didn't mention any of that.
In the scene where Dr. Napier says,
Look at you, you have no life. Your wife left you. I ought to walk out on you myself. Go ahead, bail the hell on out.
was true. But that's all that's really said about his own personal life. Perhaps the reason why it's barely mentioned is because Clark was married 3 times. And explaining all this would, it would have taken away from the movie. But it gave a false sense of a single life where he was going home alone. Clark was the father of 3 children, 2 of which were Olympic track athletes, daughter Joetta Clark Diggs and Hazel Clark. And his son J.J. Clark was a track coach. Number 5. Joe Clark had beef with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson? I remember when I was young, I did see Mike Tyson promoting the movie Lean on Me. Even then, he wasn't an actor, but at the time, Mike Tyson was huge for being the most dangerous man on the planet. So if a tough man like him gives his approval, you listen. It just made the movie even more hardcore. But the problem is, Joe Clark, he sold the rights to the movie for $15,000 and a small percentage of the movie's earned income. Well, he was sickened when he learned after the movie's release that Mike Tyson was paid around $150,000, $150,000. That's 10 times more, all just for a quick promo. Honestly, I would be mad too. You mean to tell me this whole time this guy gets like 10 times more money than him just for a simple promo? Well, Don King responded, y'all know Don King. Well, we negotiated that, so tough. It is what it is. 10 times more. It's his story, not Mike Tyson. Number 4. How the real story began to get popular. Okay, so bear with me on this one. This might be a little bit intricate, but his popularity took off because the amount of people that were coming to the school board meetings. So many that they had to move the meetings to the town hall. This caused him frequently to be on the local news, which got him the cover of Time magazine. Then NBC did a story on him, which their cameras was the ones that brought to light that he had chains on the door. Even though he had been requesting electronic locks for the school board, they refused to do that because of budget costs. And the fire chief and the mayor wanted him fired right then, but Joe Clark, unlike the movie, he agreed to take the chains off right then. Well, what happens when the chain goes off? Well, you know what happens. You know what that leads to. 2 students that were suspended got back in the school and they beat up the teachers that suspended them. Joe Clark was furious. He was so mad he threatened to quit. Then his staff threatened to quit too if he quit. Then the students threatened to quit school or get transferred if all that went down. With all the coverage that was going on with quitting and potential quitting, many people started to pay attention. So the students did a march and a pep rally to show their support for Mr. Clark, which this is what you actually see on the movie. But in the movie, Joe Clark was in jail for chaining the doors. That part of the movie was not true. The pep rally gained so much national attention, even the rap group Run DMC, they attended the pep rally. This was covered by all major networks like ABC, CNN, CBS, and many others. Even Ronald Reagan called to give his support. He even offered Joe Clark a job as a White House policy advisor if it didn't work out. At this point in time, Universal Pictures bought the rights to Joe Clark's story, but after 5 years, they never did anything with it. But his big break happened when movie producer Norman Twain saw his segment that Connie Chung did on him called The Clarkian Revolution, which got him the movie deal. Norman was interested, so he bought the rights from Universal. Then he pitched it to Warner Brothers, and the rest is history. Number 3, there was a minimum basic skills test. But did Sam's pass it? One of the biggest problems with the school before Clark came was violence and drugs. But it had also struggled very poorly in academics.
Boy, you children really are stupid.
It was said that the majority of the students had to pass a minimum basic skills test or the state would take over the school. I once thought it was just for the movie, but I found out that that was a real thing. That particular test ended in 1982, a year after Joe Clark had started, so what was in the movie was true. But did Sam's pass that minimum basic skills test? Yes, Sam's passed the minimum basic skills test. He done so good on the test that they let him skip 3 grades and he was able to graduate his freshman year. That was just a joke. But for real, either you did or you didn't notice that at the end of the movie, he was a freshman graduating with all the seniors. Well, you know, being that he was the most iconic, most improved student in the film, I think it was kind of symbolic to show him graduating at the end, but so we're going to just let that slide. Did you notice that he was supposed to be a freshman?
Yo, photo on this.
Sam, you're going to class.
Number 2, other Joe Clark casting choices. Sidney Poitier was Warner Brothers' first choice for the role of Joe Clark, but the actor turned it down because he did not agree with Joe Clark's politics. At the time, Joe Clark was a closeted conservative. Not saying that he was like a registered Republican or anything, but he definitely believed that the problems in the black community were in part of broken liberal promises. Bill Cosby was approached next. I feel outside of Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby would have done a good job. We've seen Bill's serious side, but the filmmakers felt that Bill wouldn't take the movie serious enough. So Eddie Murphy was considered next. Eddie Murphy's contract with Paramount Pictures barred him from appearing in any Warner Brothers production. I couldn't see Eddie Murphy doing it anyway. Danny Glover was also named as a contender, but at the time he was busy with the Lethal Weapon 2 movie. Morgan Freeman, who recently won an Obie Award for his off-Broadway performance in Driving Miss Daisy, was cast and the others were ruled out, although the producer Norman Twain insisted that Morgan Freeman was always his first choice. In preparation for the role, Freeman shadowed Clark for several weeks at Eastside High School in Paterson, New Jersey, where the film was shot. Clark's family was very impressed with Morgan Freeman, saying, "Hey, that's how you really act."
Me out of the building, or tried to throw me out. He got 4 security guards and he said, "Get her out, take her out. I don't want her here anymore."
Look at this slovenly, sloppy boy here.
What are we talking about here?
Number 1. The real Joe Clark got fired soon after the movie debuted, and the G-String Dancers. The real-life Joe Clark resigned as principal of Eastside High School shortly after the film was released. Around that time the film was debuted, he was suspended by the school board for 1 week after he scheduled an assembly which the rapper Wanda B and others performed. Keep in mind, Joe Clark was still the principal when this movie debuted and his popularity grew. He was still the principal at the same school. So the story goes like this. It's 2 months after the debut of the movie. Right before Joe Clark went out of town to help promote the movie, he gave his approval for a performance by a list of popular artists for an assembly for the school. In fairness, this group of artists had performed at Eastside High twice before. Little did Joe Clark know, and his staff knew, that one of the artists, Wanda B, regularly had dancers that stripped down to their G-strings. Now, it's currently unclear if she started the Cisco Man after the last time they performed at the school, or was Wanda B just new to the lineup of other artists. Either way, I don't believe that this happened the first performances. Well, the staff at Eastside High was appalled by what they were seeing, and they quickly pulled the curtains on Miss Wanda D, and they canceled the rest of the show. Clark said he had not known about the thong dancers in advance, and I really believe him. The problem for Clark is that the powers that be naturally felt like Clark was spending more time promoting the film than he was actually being the principal. So after recovery from heart surgery, Joe said, look, enough is enough. He resigned before they could officially fire him, but they were going to fire him. After Eastside High, Joe Clark became an author and a motivational speaker. In 1995, he was hired to run a juvenile detention center in Newark, New Jersey, a position he held until he resigned in 2002. Ironically, the man who suspended him was Joe Clark's friend, Dr. Napier. So I guess what Dr. Napier said in the movie was true.
If you're so hot on discipline, then start by accepting mine. Because contrary to popular opinion, I'm the head in charge.
Now it's time to answer the big question. Do you guys think that men performing in thongs was an appropriate performance for a high school audience? Well, in all fairness, so instead of making the video extra long, what I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to make an extra video explaining the big answer. So give me about a week, I'll have it uploaded for you and you check it out then. You're hearing it from me in my own conversation. Wanting to be to this day, 2025, years later, the action that got Mr. Clark fired or resigned that ended him in high school, she still has no regrets for what she's done. She still doesn't see that what she did was really detrimental to the high school. And it is very sad.
I'm not changing my act for no one.
What do you think? Do you think this was appropriate? Go ahead and put it on the comments. Let everybody know down here what you think. Did you think this is cool for a high school? Would this been something that you would approve your children to see? Leave it in the comments and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you. Okay, thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you guys for watching. You guys, I really love enjoying doing these videos. But help me by liking and subscribing so I can keep bringing you guys these things. I'm seeing some of these other videos that I want to do, and when I go look at them, it's just like it's not even a real video, it's just a slideshow. It's just like a book report. It's just a bunch of JPEGs, a slideshow, and them talking during the whole time. You guys, what I try to bring to you is a full TV show, as if you were watching CNN, NBC, or ABC. Something intricate, something that has life in it. But the problem is, I'm getting hung up because, you know, in the world of YouTube, it's like whoever puts stuff out first. So you got quality over quantity. You guys, I'm sorry, as an artist, I can't bring you no mess. But that's why I say, if you would just please subscribe to me and help me grow this channel even better. Like, I'm not going to give you garbage in return. You don't have to worry about when you click on my video, it's just going to be some guy just putting some random JPEGs out there. So also, y'all need a favor from me. I released a good documentary on New Jack City. It is really good, but somebody beat me to the punch by 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. You guys, I need y'all to help me get that one going. It's a really good one. Like and subscribe that one too. Also, by now, I might have already released my Miles Beyond Music channel and my Miles Beyond Truth channel. So there'll be another one soon, so stay tuned for the next top 10 video.